All right, good day, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Peter. For those of you that are new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit like, comment, and subscribe. Tap the notification bell so you can know when I'm uploading to the channel. All right, you guys, so I am here to give you guys your ancestor message for today. And so it's like the message all week long, like a lot that they wanted me to convey in this energy is just knowing yourself or finding yourself, right? And so what you guys and your ancestors are saying is that, like, in order to come into the fullness of yourself, you have to understand a lot of things about yourself. Like, even if you are successful, you're not as successful as you could possibly be because you don't know certain parts of yourself. All right, and so that's why the idea is to, you know, take time to figure out who you are. And in order to figure out who you are, you have to know who they are, and you have to know about your past. And the thing about it is, a lot of times when you look into things about the ancestors and stuff like that, a lot of stuff that comes up about ancestry, especially African ancestry, is the scary stuff, the spooky stuff, the stuff that scares people away from it because it's been demonized so much throughout the years, you know. And so your guys and your ancestors wanted me to come on here and tell you, like, you have to know who they are, and you have to know of them and know of your heritage in order for you to actually tap into the fullness of who you are and the fullness of who you can be. So it takes like 8 grandparents to make you. So if you go from parent, grandparent, great grandparent, take 8 grandparents to make you. So that's 4 sets of grandparents, right? And so when you look at these 4 sets, we're talking about them being your compass. And there are 4 directions on the compass. You got your north, south, east, and west. And so in order to know who you are and what direction you should be going, you need to know your family compass. All right, or you need to have some kind of cultural context about your family compass. Now, many of us, we might not know, you know, certain, you know, that far back, but you can kind of get an idea. You can do your genealogy. You can do research. You can ask your living ancestors that are already there, but you can also ask your spirit, and things will be revealed to you. I know you're like, oh, but that's how. Well, the deeper you go with yourself, the more that you'll access of yourself, because a lot of the stuff that you need to know about yourself is not in no textbook. It's in you. All right, and that's why, like, in a lot of cultures, you leave the house at a certain time to go learn about yourself, and you go leave the house with the elders to learn the ways of the elders and learn the ways of the land and the ways of the culture. So it's not going to be in no book. All right, and so that's what your ancestors are saying. Like, everything about you ain't gonna be in no book. Everything about you not gonna be on no YouTube video. Some of this stuff you're gonna have to do on your own. Some of this stuff you're gonna have to explore on your own. But part of it is you knowing them. They are your north, south, east, and west. And when you don't know, when you pull out your compass and one of those things are off, you'll never be able to find your true north. All right, and so the idea is to find your true north. What is your true north? What is true to you? So if you know the north, the south, and the west, but don't know the east, you're gonna always be lost. You're gonna always be turned around. There's gonna be always things coming up that you're not gonna know how to get through. You're not gonna know how to deal with, because you don't know that part of yourself. You can't resonate with that part of yourself. So it is frustrating for you. All right, and that's what happens, like, when you got a compass and the compass hasn't been calibrated. All right, you got to calibrate yourself to your ancestors, okay? You got to calibrate yourself to your ancestors. You got to put yourself get that thing down to that 0, get it to the true north, and start exploring yourself and exploring your ancestors. If y'all got any living relatives still alive, go holler at them. Go talk to them and ask them questions. Tell them, like, give you a name or something, a surname or something, so you can start digging deep, all right? Because you need to know your roots. I'm in the garden all the time. I be thinking about a lot of stuff when I'm in the garden. Them downloads just hitting, you know. And so we got this one tree, and this tree is inside of a pot right now. We're gonna put it in a bigger pot, but it's inside of a pot right now. But the pot is not, the container is not the tree's natural habitat, but it's right now is in an environment similar, right? But one thing that we do know, that if that tree does not grow, if that tree never stabilizes itself in a foundation in the ground, that it's not going to get as big as it can get. All right, some of y'all are going to have to find Some of y'all are gonna have to get rooted. And when we talk about getting rooted, we talking about getting rooted in your history, getting rooted in your family, getting rooted in your cultural context, like getting rooted. If we don't put that tree in the ground, it's not gonna get big. It's actually gonna stay real small, and it's gonna produce fruit, but it's only gonna produce a small amount of fruit. Imagine if we put the tree in the ground though. Those roots can go as deep and as far as they could possibly go. All right. And that's the thing about knowing your ancestry and knowing your history, and why ancestry is so important. All right. Having that foundation, knowing that foundation is so important. A tree can only get as big as its roots can expand. So if its roots can't expand that far, it can only get so big. So if you can expand so far, look at this eagle just flying across my head right now. I'm actually a little frightened. No, I'm joking. I ain't frightened. I ain't scared of no natural animals that are flying around. I'm trying to see if y'all can see it, but it's gone. But yeah, you don't get rooted and you're not embedded in your culture, your cultural context, you're only gonna be able to go as far as you can go with that knowledge. You know, so even if you're successful, you're not going to be as successful as you could be because you're not rooted in your culture. You're not rooted in your family. You're not rooted in the thing that's going to help give you the direction. And what's going to give you the direction is understanding those 4 cardinal directions of your ancestry. Even if you had a 1,058 something ancestors, and you divided that by 4, you're gonna get what, 262, 144. Multiply 262 times 144. Multiply 262, 144 times 4, and you're gonna get like 1,000,000 or something, 1,058 something or another. You know, but either way, you need to know them 4 directions. So it don't matter how big the number gets, you're gonna have to know those 4 directions. All right, you're gonna have to know about your lineage in order to get as big as you can get. You know, when also in the garden, when you plant these seeds, right, it don't matter if it's an orange tree, whatever kind of seeds you plant them inside of a little seedling tray, right? And then you have to pick them up and move them and transplant them. And when you transplant a seed, the most important thing about transplanting the seedlings is the roots. Not compromising the roots, not breaking the roots, not tampering with the roots, because you messing with the roots could determine how this plant, how this tree is going to grow. How whatever it is going to grow, if it's going to grow at all. Because sometimes you can tamper with the root and you can destroy the whole plant. Sometimes you can mix the plant with another type of plant and it'll become a whole different species of plant. And so that's why your ancestors are saying, like, it's so important for you to know who they are. It's so important for you to know that. It's so important for you to know this about yourself, because you have been transplanted somewhere in an environment that feels comfortable to you. It feels like it's your natural home, but it's not. You have been transplanted there. So you need to get an understanding or get a foundation in your actual roots, if that makes sense. Instead of being put in the ground in your natural habitat, you've been put in a raised bed. And it feels, you can grow in it, but you can't get as big as you're supposed to get. You can't grow as much as you're supposed to grow. You can't heal as much as you're supposed to heal because you don't have enough information to heal off of. So there's a lot of things that you're faced with in the supernatural that you don't even understand because you don't have an understanding of self. And you have to understand your ancestors and know your ancestors and know of those different directions in order to understand self, in order to know self, so that self can thrive. Self cannot thrive if self don't know the selves that created it. Okay, so your ancestors are like, look, we need y'all to, that's why they banging on y'all windows. Like, look, we need y'all to know us. We don't care if you can't afford no flowers, you don't got to. Just give us some water. Just have some conversations with us. Just walk around and talk to us. Just try to find something out about us. What rumor you heard of your family? Y'all hear y'all family talking about some, they got Cherokee in them, look into it. If you everybody talking about they got Indian in them or Native in them, look into it. If they said, you ever heard them say they got Cherokee in them, look into the Cherokee and see if you can find any of them in the registry. But it's time. Y'all probably got fortunes out there that y'all don't even know y'all got because y'all not looking into your ancestry. Y'all not trying to understand who y'all are. Y'all just trying to go and I don't know what you're trying to do. All right, but that's why there was a certain essence, a certain respect around the elders. You get the knowledge from the elders, yo, and then the elders pass the information down to you and you utilize the knowledge that the elders give you. As long as it ain't harmful and detrimental, you utilize the knowledge that the elders give to you. You activate certain cells. Every plant has a cell. Every plant, we are plants. All right, every plant. That's why we on a planet. All right, every plant needs a cell. Every plant has cells, and every plant needs the same, some of the same foundational things to survive. It needs water, it needs oxygen, it needs sunlight, it needs fertilization. All right, it needs to be pollinated. All right, like some of them self-pollinate, some of them have to be, some of them the bees got to do it. All right, but every one of them need the same thing, and there's different types of fertilizers required for different types of plants. Why you think that is? Because not everything could grow in the same environment with the same things. You cannot grow in the same environment with the same things that everybody else because you are different than everybody else. And so you need to figure out what those differences are. All right, you might got something from your auntie Mary and somebody else got something from your cousin Boo, whoever, whatever, you know, but it's not the same. You and your siblings, y'all might look like y'all mama and them, but one of them look like your daddy's side of the family. So not everything that's going to feed you is going to feed them, and not everything that's going to feed them is going to feed you. You might need something different. You see, when you put greens in the ground, they need a lot of nitrogen. You got certain things that can grow without nothing. Certain things self-fertilize themselves. All right? You might be a self-fertilizer. You don't know what you is, but because you ain't did the research. You ain't tried to know. You need to slow down and sit with yourself so you can understand which direction it is that you're supposed to be going here. And you're not going to know the direction that you're supposed to go if you missing one of the directions. If you missing one of the cardinal directions. If you only got the north, the south, and the east, and you still need the west, you're going to always be turned around. Your back asthma is going to be off. And you ain't going to know which way to go. So it's time for you to figure out which way you're supposed to go. And the only way that you're going to do that is you know yourself. And the only way you're going to know yourself and know the ones that came before you. Why y'all think, like, when they did the whole, like, when they recap, like, the story, when they was talking about Jesus, they said all of his people's names. Or, like, when they talk about the forefathers, they be like, George Washington, son of such and such, or son of such and such. Or at funerals, when they be like, oh, this person is the child of such and such, and the child of such and such, and they're survived by. Why do you think that's so important? Because it's important for you to understand where you came from and who's left behind. All right, and that's important because the only way that you're gonna know who you are and thrive the way that you're supposed to thrive is by knowing the things that you are made up of. All right, by knowing your compound. What is your compound? What needs to be mixed with you in order for you to grow the way that you're supposed to grow? Where are you supposed to be planted in order for your roots to expand the way that they need to expand? So if you are having difficulty in your life, trying to figure out why all of these things are going on with you, why this, why that, why you have this type of emotional turbulence, why you got that going on, why you're addicted to whatever type of drugs you're addicted to, why you can't stand these type of things, why light bothers you, why this, why that, why you don't like this, why you don't like that, you got to look into it. You got to do your research on your ancestry. And a lot of the research is going to be done internally. You need to be with yourself. You need to be with yourself. You need to establish a relationship with yourself. You need to create attachments with yourself. You need to create stability with yourself. You need to stabilize. You need a foundation to grow in. You need something solid to grow in. You need the proper fertilizations to grow properly. You need the right amount of watering to grow. Some of y'all need direct sunlight. Some of y'all getting too much sun. All right, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this message. I couldn't hold it no more. When they give me another message, y'all know I'm gonna be out here. If you like the content on this page, go ahead and hit like, comment, subscribe. Tap the notification bell so you can know when I'm uploading to the channel. Make sure y'all share this video. Share it on y'all social media if y'all want to. And I'll holler at y'all.